same date. And so I have to like kind of get ahead and do all these things, before it's due because I can't get so many things done in one day.
Yeah.
I hear ya. And then, on top of that is real life, so.
Yeah, and you never know what happens with real life, so you
Yeah.
can't predict everything.
Yeah. So let's do Monday at 10 o'clock. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, that works for me.
Works for me.
Okay.
That's Monday the 23rd, 10 p.m.
Yeah, better write it down, huh?
Yes. That's a really good idea.
I know, I'm like, okay, it's fine, and then so much goes on and you forget, so write it down.
Well, you've already looked at the next assignment. I'm still working on this assignment, let alone trying to figure out next assignment.
Yeah, seriously, I was thinking the same thing.
I just happened to get done with everything today, so I was like, okay, let's see what else. And because I only have one daycare kid right now, so I feel like I'm like, oh my goodness, I have so much time. But
And more,
Only reason I know is because I went to
we're,
that meeting.
just so I make sure that we're right, we're talking about the doohickeys problems that's due next week, correct?
Yeah, that's due next week too, so we have to get that going too.
Yeah. No, we're just talking about the discussion like tonight. It's different next week. It's 2 different teams, and so we'll have to have 2 different discussion leaders.
Okay.
We're supposed to have 2 different hangouts, and then we get together and do one.
So I volunteered to do one as well, so I can be a discussion leader.
Okay.
Is JT doing the leader this week, or?
That's what I understood.
Okay.
From the email.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then he said something about emergency.
That's right. I wasn't sure if it was him or Zach. I couldn't remember. So, okay.
I think it's him. He said he has to have a shorter meeting because he has an unexpected CAT scan tonight.
I know. So is he planning on talking to us from the hospital, or?
I have no idea.
Well, the CAT scan he can just do at like a radiology place, so I'm sure that he's home.
Yeah.
I hope.
But it's pretty late. So.
Yeah. Crazy.
The CAT scan is not too bad, but.
No, you lay there, the machine does the scanning. It's what I do.
Yeah, well, they put things on you, right? All these little magnetic things.
Actually, no, because it interrupts the X-rays. A CAT scan uses X-rays.
Oh, so it's the different one. That's
Right.
the one that my son got. I thought it was CAT scan. Didn't they do? Don't they put like little things all over you?
No, that sounds like more like an MRI.
Oh.
MRI uses magnetics. A CAT scan uses X-rays.
X-rays. So it must have been something else. Neither one of them. I don't know.
Well, an MRI is good for soft tissue.
Mm-hmm.
A CAT scan is good for bone. So it just depends on what they're looking for.
Well, it was neither, I guess, then. My son got some kind of testing for he has febrile seizures, and so when he was young, they had to do some. Oh, it's a CT scan.
Okay, yeah. A CT scan is a CAT scan.
Is it CAT scan?
A CAT scan is a CT scan.
But then when he did it, he had to get all these things on his head and like I don't know. And they were just like having him lay down and.
Was it little circle things that they put on his head?
Yeah, all over.
Uh-huh.
Is that what it is?
Well, yeah, those are markers, and they use that just to basically figure out where they need to scan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So that was he scanned it.
Well,
I
JT
don't know
doesn't
if you
have
guys got my text message either. I text everybody, but my phone's like not sending out messages like normal. But I am not as prepared tonight as I normally am, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Like I said, I have a lot of work right now. Like I know everybody else does, but I'm like swimming in work this week. I've had like 2 or 3 presentations. I have another one, so that'll be my third. But I'm like drowning. So
My last couple weeks was like that. This week I feel like I'm kind of get back into a routine.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I have no routine whatsoever. So I will just chime in when I feel like I actually know what I'm talking about.
So, yeah, this week reading wasn't too long, and I thought it was a little more interesting than other ones. I don't know.
I liked how they ended it. They said, "All right, what are you going to do?" And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I wanna find out what happened. Did you read the leader one? Because I didn't read the
I
leader one.
did,
Yeah. So
and it
did I.
does tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta go and read that. I want to know what happened.
Yeah. Well, if JT doesn't come, what should we do? Go ahead and just
I've got this printed out. I can run it if you want.
okay, let's do
I
that.
still need to figure out how to record it though.
I've already got it recording right now.
Oh, good. So we're fine that way.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and start. One of the big things I liked about this, it ended with, what would you do? And so some of the questions that they're starting out, begin asking your group what would they think it'd be like to work as a TSA agent. So can you picture yourself doing that? This type of job?
No.
No. Oh, actually, I think I could. So,
How come?
all right, so I'm the weird one of the group. Has anyone had a job like this?
No.
No. Ask them to imagine that this is their job. What would they like and dislike about their job? What would you like about it? What would you not like about it?
Well, I wouldn't like, because, I don't know, when you think of a TSA agent, you just, for the fact that they're the ones that have to pat you down. They have to, do everything that everyone's upset about, even though they're just trying to keep you safe.
Right.
So I guess what I wouldn't like is that everyone, or a lot of people wouldn't like me. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
See, I think that I'd like that it was always like it's not always different, but you see like different things every day, and like I don't like to feel like I'm stuck behind a desk. So I think that as I was reading this, I think that was something that I would like, is that it's like you're always doing something and you're busy, but as weird as this sounds, I don't like touching other people's things. Like it freaks me out if I not it freaks me out, but like if it's like dirty or you have to go through stuff, like I would not enjoy that. Like as obsessive compulsive as that may sound, I'm being totally serious. Like I don't think I'd enjoy that very much.
Has anybody flown recently? Have you
Yeah,
gone through any?
I flew like 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So did you go through the machine or did you get patted down?
I went through the machine, and then my husband forgot to take off his belt buckle, so he had to get patted down.
Okay.
Yeah, I always have to get patted down because I always forget. If you have sparkles on your pants, it does something off. And so they actually even had to, wipe it a little bit and test it. And they're like, okay, you're good to go. And I was like, oh, I got to quit wearing my sparkly pants.
I haven't had that done, but yeah. I think I wouldn't like to be TSR just because, yeah, like you have to randomly, select somebody to do the test on and stuff like that. And sometimes, they're so ornery, people in hurry, and yeah, I just don't think I don't want to deal with people like that.
Yeah. I would choose not to go through the X-ray machine. I would choose to get patted down, and I would make them just, oh, frisk me first. You're not touching there. You got to come up here. I would mess with them because it's their job, and it's.
I wouldn't want to have those kind of guy come to the line, and I have to.
Yes.
Or you can have, like, my worst fear is like a 300-pound person, and they would come up to you. All right, come over here. Stand there. It's like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you like. So, okay. It says, ask a specific member. Dun, 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 dun. All right. 1 out of 3. 1, 2, 3. Miss Suzanne.
Okay.
What should O'Reilly do with Sanchez?
I think because he hasn't had any problems before and that he's been a really good worker, that it should have either be like a write-up or be put on probation. I don't think he should be fired.
Okay. So, does everybody know what happened or why he was in trouble? He was on his phone talking to his daughter, and somebody got by. He didn't know about it, but a other flight person, somebody in line, ratted him out. So it's not just him not doing his job. A civilian person caught it, and now he's in trouble.
And they had to ground the flights until they found him. And so it was like 45 minutes, and that affected all over.
Their flights, the continuing flights, it had lots of repercussions.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, ask other group members for their other suggestions. Okay. So, Alexis, what would you suggest for them to do?
I kind of agree with what Suzanne was saying. Like, I think because it had so many repercussions, I think it is a write-up. I think you do get in trouble. And if you, in the reading, it talked about how, like, the TSA was put in place because of September 11th. And, like, so that's why we, like, look to them for security and stuff like that. And so I feel like that's your job while you're there. And we all have families. We all have, like, different things in our lives. But you have to make sure that, like, when it comes to matters like national or some type of security, you need to make sure that you're focused on your job. So if you have to step away or you need to talk to somebody in your family or take a personal moment, just say, just like in any occupation, I think saying I need like just a second and to step away from your work area is fine. Mm-hmm. But he didn't ask for that. So I think that was his big mistake.
Yep. And the thing about it is everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody has family. Somebody's going to call you at work. At the hospital here, I have my cell phone. When I'm with a patient, I don't pick it up. Now, if it's my wife calling, if it's my son calling from overseas, then I'm worried. But if I'm with a patient, I can't stop what I'm doing. I have to finish my patient and then call them back. So, and I think that's probably a big thing with parents and their kids, because if their kids are calling, you're going to respond no matter what, because you're a parent. Everybody responds to their kids.
Well, and it says that he's a single parent, that he's raising his daughter.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Yuri, what would you do in this situation? You're a mom.
Mm-hmm.
When your kids call,
it's the same thing, there's a rule for a reason, and if you're not supposed to be using your phone when you're working, then you shouldn't. And I mean, the emergencies happen, and you do want to get to them as quick as you can when they, have those kind of things. But there's certain things you can't do at work. You're there, you're getting paid to do your job, and you can't, do that. And so I think I like the other reading, the Discipline Without Punishment, how they went through the processes. Yeah. Yeah, processes of, having like conversation and then, going into discussion about things and then reminder, formal reminder and things like that. And so I think in a way we should kind of use that because, well, like Suzanne said, he's a good worker and he's been really good, and it's just one thing that he missed has led to like huge event, and he needs to realize what impact it had on everything else, but at the same time he needs to be able to still have his job and work, because I think it kind of sends the messages to everybody. Like if he doesn't have that warning and kind of process, then one thing you miss one thing and then you get fired. And you don't want to do that, because then you lose all the workers that are good, over just the one thing. And you want to be able to like train, and you don't want to be able to make sure that they understand what they're supposed to be doing, and then give them a chance to, I guess, live up to what they're supposed to. And so I think if it was more like repeated offenses, like he's been doing it so many times and he has caused so many problems, of course I think he should get fired. But if it's just the first offense, then he should at least have a chance to prove himself.
In fact, that's one of the questions here. Would it be appropriate to punish Sanchez to send a message to the other airports, to the public, to other TSO officers? If no one thinks he should be fired, what would it be taken to get him fired? What would it have taken?
Repeated offenses. Repeated. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So one mess up can buy off. Everybody's human. 2, 3 mess ups, yeah. Especially with this type of job, your job is to secure the airport, secure the passengers, Yeah, I don't see doing it twice and not being fired, because that's not doing your job.
Yeah. Well, I think it has to do with the attitude of the too. If Sanchez was remorseful for what he's done, then I think he should get a chance to redeem himself. But if he was like well, it wasn't my fault, or and things like that, then I think it makes it a little bit different.
Okay.
And not only that, in like normal business settings anyways, you have to like at my last job you had to like sign a whole bunch of paperwork, and then before they could terminate you or fire you, you would like get a warning and then a written, like a write-up and then another write-up, and then on like your second or third write-up, depending upon what your first one was, if it was a written warning or not, they could let you go. And so I know that like in this situation, like his job like is a matter of security and like safety of other people, but it's also like the same thing for him. So I do think that there's a process that you go through.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that the security breach was entirely his fault?
No, because there's other people there.
Yeah. I think there's more than one person that's in charge of watching out for that too. I don't think he was the only one. Out of he must have had a good group of like teams working with him, and I think they should have worked together and caught instead of passenger catching that person, I think somebody else on the team should have catched it.
Okay. What could have been done better to prevent this situation? What could have he done? What could have the team done to make it better?
Well, he could have been not talking on his phone, first off.
Yes.
And second off, I think I read that he was at like where the exit is. Mm-hmm. And so he might have been there by himself, because I know when I exit, from the airport, there's only just one guy there. Mm-hmm. And they're at kind of like at a desk. Mm-hmm. And that's why it was kind of surprising, because someone ran through the exit going in, and how he could, So I don't know, maybe there needs to be someone else that's somewhere close around, maybe not right where he's at, but somewhere close that can kind of have a general view over everything. Kind of like second eyes. That would help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also think in teams, if instead of just having one person at one location, you need to have teams in case one person gets incapacitated. One person has to go to the restroom. One person has to take a call. You still have a person there to secure the area. So instead of just having one person, have at least 2 people per area. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times they have one on the end of the exit area, and then they have another one on the other side, where there's securities. I've seen 2 different people different area, so they have chance to catch people coming in. But I don't know if every one of them has it. But I've seen it before.
Okay, one of the questions here I think is, are there appropriate policies in place to prevent a security lapse? In the reading, do you think that there's a policy there to prevent this from happening?
Obviously not, because it happened.
Yeah.
And the question is, does it happen more than once, or in more than one airport, and more than all the time?
Say that one more time.
I was thinking that it happens more than once, and more than one airport. I think it happens a lot, because a person can be just distracted. Somebody could go to the restroom. Somebody could, there are times where you're not going to be able to be there for 4 hours. So, it says, ask each person of your team to make a decision about what percentage of the breach was Sanchez's fault and what percentage was the TSA's fault. And give a number, 50% this person, 50% that person. What do you think the overall responsibility of each person is?
I think that Sanchez does have, because of where he was and everything, I think that he definitely has 30. I mean, I call me crazy. I think he has 30% responsibility, but because there was a team of people working, I think everybody else is accountable as well. I think that when you work in a team and you work in a place like that, that you're accountable for not just your thing, but everything else that's going on. So I think that it had a little something to do with everybody else too. So I mean, you could say, I mean, I guess I could say 50-50, 50% his fault because he wasn't doing his job, and 50% everybody else for not paying attention.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would say probably 60% chance at Sanchez, just for the fact that he was distracted, and it wasn't for an emergency. It was to tell his daughter to do her homework. But 40% the TSA, because there should be a policy that should help so this does not happen.
Yeah. Okay. The world according to Leonard. I think it's about 80% his problem, Sanchez, because he's the one that was distracted. He was the one that caused the issue. I also think it's like 20% the TSAs because they should have a policy of more than one person at a secured location. And then you can say, I've got to go to the restroom, take over, or I have an emergency, take over. So I think the TSA needs to have a better policy than just having one person at one location. So probably about 20% TSA and 20% Sanchez.
Oh, JT just texted saying, I'm having trouble sending out invites to have it recorded.
Just tell him just to jump on.
Yeah.
Have him jump in. Is that going through?
Also, really fast before he jumps in, my daughter keeps waking up, so the next time I may just end up hanging up, or stepping out. So if I'm not here, then that's why.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
JT, welcome here.
Thank you.
We've gone through step 1, step 2, and step 3. We've been talking about how much do you think it's Sanchez's fault? How much do you think it's anybody else's fault of this situation? Do you need to get caught up to where we're at, or can you take that question?
I don't know where we're at, so I don't know if I'm going to offend anybody, but I think it was, as sad as it is, I think it was completely Sanchez's fault. So, I mean, if we're going to defend him, then we can. But,
Well,
I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean to do it, but, I mean, he was the one that dropped the ball.
okay. The question is, what percentage of the breach was Sanchez's fault? What percentage of the was the TSA's fault? So you're saying that it's 100% his fault?
I would say him as a reflection, and maybe I didn't read all the material, I just read, what I read. But he's a TSA agent, so it was 100% his fault, I would say.
Okay. So we've got a wide variety of answers for that. Cool. Let's see. It says choose 2 people in your group to role play, and this discussion between Mina O'Reilly and Ludo Sanchez. So one person play O'Reilly and one person play Sanchez. Try to choose a woman to play O'Reilly and a man to play Sanchez. JT, can you play Sanchez?
I can play Sanchez. Let me just make sure I understand, because it's just the one article that under discipline, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
I can be Sanchez. So I was talking on the phone to my daughter about college or whatever in like an exit checkout booth or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Suzanne, do you want to play O'Reilly?
Sure,
The boss?
I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so Sanchez is showing up for work, and he's coming into a meeting with me, and I have to talk to him about what's going on. So, Sanchez, from what I understand, you were talking on the phone with your daughter, and someone ran through the opposite way, and we had to close down the airport for 45 minutes, delayed airplanes, and it caused havoc everywhere. I've discussed it with my bosses, and we've come up with a plan that I'm going to write you up, have a formal written thing in your profile, and then we're going to put you on probation for 3 months. What do you think of that?
Well, as an employee, it was just 45 seconds. I do understand your position as a manager. I feel like, I'm a good member of this team. I understand the situation. Why? I don't know. I'm Sanchez, so I don't know if Sanchez understands the situation that you're in. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think he would realize his mistake and just sit there and take it. But, it was just 45 seconds. Any other agent, could have seen it or somebody could have stopped it. And, I didn't even notice it. So it was just, a short time. So, I do apologize for the problem there. Am I being reassigned with this, or is it just the write-up, or?
For right now, we're just going to do the write-up and then put you on probation for 3 months. The only reason we're not going to fire you is because you do have such a great record with TSA, and you've always seemed to love your job. You make people at ease. You just need to realize that you cannot be on the phone while you're at work. But we understand mistakes happen, and it can't happen again, though.
Okay. I'll do better.
Okay. If you need to take a break or something, then talk to a different TSA. We'll figure out some way to make sure that you can still get your breaks, and maybe talk to your daughter and make sure she knows when your breaks are, and that's when you can talk to her.
We'll do that. Thank you, Mrs. O'Reilly.
Yeah. Okay, now go get to work.
Okay, so this is good. Now it's asking, as a group, what would we have done differently? I liked how you said that you're not getting fired, because that's probably the first thing that's on mind. You identified the problem. This is what you're going to do with the solution, and this is what we can do to help you in your situation. So, as a manager aspect, I like what you did. And then, as the person who, you're right. Taking the responsibility. I think you did that just fine. Anybody else?
I like the fact Suzanne had mentioned what she is pleased about him, how he's a good worker and things like that, because I think that kind of tells him, what your views are, but expectation, what you expect out of him as well. So I think it's important to have the positive aspects of that too, just because it makes you wanna, makes the Sanchez wanna improve and commit to doing better.
Yeah. It says, okay, for O'Reilly, what was difficult to say in this conversation? What's hard to say?
It's hard to say that, yeah, you screwed up, and this is what's going to happen, because I do respect him as an employee. I've always liked being able to walk by and see that everyone's happy around him. So I know he's a great worker, and I know it was just, he was talking to his daughter. It was just 45 seconds, we all do it. It just happened that this time someone came running through the exit doors, and he didn't see them. So it was, it's hard to say, hey, this is your problem, even though we know we all kind of do it at some time or another.
Oh, see, that's good, because the next question right there says, how would you tell someone you respect and care that he's not performing? So,
Yeah.
just like what you said, you identify him, you say that he's not all bad, this is the situation, let's move on. The last question is this hard to do for people?
Yeah, because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, and you never want to tell someone, hey, you screwed up, because I know I don't want to hear it. So you just don't want to hurt people's feelings, or most people don't.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay. Ask the members of your team to give a final decision about what would they have done in this case. Would they have fired Sanchez, put Sanchez on probation, give Sanchez paid leave, or require Sanchez to receive additional training? What else would we have done to Sanchez?
I think just writing him up and putting him on probation. I mean, I think he already knows his training, so it doesn't really help to put him in training again. And why would you give him paid leave? And I don't think we should fire him on his first offense or first mistake.
Yeah.
I would have made him do training just to make him suffer, but I mean, I feel like that's like, this is kind of your punishment, because otherwise, I mean, what are you gonna?
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure that if this mistake happened with somebody else, I mean, Sanchez got away with it because he was Sanchez, but if it had been somebody else, I mean, we would have kicked them to the curb. So it definitely would have, it would have been the biggest slap on the wrist of his life type thing, as far as this job was concerned.
That's funny that JT says that, because I totally agreed with what Suzanne was saying. Like, I would do probation and I wouldn't suspend him without pay, but the only thing that I was going to say I would change about that is, just like JT was saying, I'd totally make him do training again. I hate training. Like, when you have to go and do stuff like that. My husband's a law enforcement officer, and today he had training, and he said he had to sit and watch all of these videos today, and he was like, it was so boring. So I think that making somebody do training again is just adding salt to the wound. So I think in a weird way I'd make sure that he did that.
Well, I think it wouldn't hurt to, have him go through the training. That way he, he knows there's no question about, that he didn't know about this or he didn't know about that. I think it wouldn't hurt to. And I think it wouldn't hurt for a team to realize that, they can kind of help out too. They need to be alert too.
Okay, so I love this part right here. After everyone gives their final decision, tell the group what happened. Sanchez got a warning, but was not fired. However, 2 months later, he caused another serious breach. What would you do now?
See, I don't think there's enough information. How did the breach happen? Was he on the phone again? Or was it something completely different? I don't think we can really decide what to do. But then again, if it's a serious breach and he already had one, to be honest, he's probably going to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
JT, what do you think? What should happen?
As Sanchez, I mean, at this point, if it was a phone breach or if it was a breach of not paying attention, I mean, at that point he's done. You can't make the same big mistake, especially on probation. If it was if he was doing something, I don't even understand why he was on his phone in the first place at work. That's confusing. But I mean, you can't make that same mistake, especially on probation. He's done at this point. I would, possibly fire him on the spot and then give him, and maybe give him a good whatever recommendation for something else. But I mean, at that point, you can't even recommend him to anybody because it's well, I gave him a chance. I let him know he was on probation, and then he went and did the same thing. But however, if it was a group, thing, and it wasn't just his fault, then at that point, you would discipline the group and maybe consider keeping him. But at this point, he's on probation, and you want to treat him the way you treat anybody else on probation.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate for one thing. What do you think the other team members thought about and felt that all he got was probation? So it's a major breach. Something happened. The system failed. What do you think the other team members felt?
Well, I'm sure they felt like he was getting favored. But then again, I don't know. Has this ever happened before? And someone's gotten fired. I guess it would kind of depend on what's been the policy or what's been the norm for this happening before.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, what does this teach us about discipline?
We all have different ideas.
Yes.
Well, I think a different company has different policies too. So without understanding what their policies are, it's hard to kind of go.
Well, and if it's like his job is securing the airport, securing a plane, it's different from a person delivering pizza.
Yeah.
Different situations, different responsibilities. Um, it says, okay, ask each team member what's the most important thing they've learned from this case.
I don't want to be a TSA person.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
See, I still think I'd be good at it. I don't know. So I'm the one person out of the whole
You're
group.
doing it.
Well, I think I could be good at it, but I don't think I'd like it.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
think there's a difference.
Okay. Ask each team member to rate the overall quality of today's discussion from 0 to 10.
I feel like for as much as we'll have going on, this was a solid 10. We did great.
I think
I agree.
I think it was a good discussion.
Yep.
What did they like? Ask the discussion leader what did they like. I thought it was a great write-up, all the way up to the says, all right, they're getting together, they're going to talk about this, and then we have to decide what's going to happen. What can, as a group, or even as a team leader, what can we do better next time?
Just keep making sure that we're reading our stuff and talking. I think we're doing really good.
Yeah. I know you had to step in today, so it's hard in a way. And so I think, if we're all kind of on top of it, and if you're a leader, then you'll get going. I know JT had some stuff going on today, so I understand. But, I guess if we did our part, we each did our part, then it'll be best.
Okay. Has anybody heard from Zach?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I hope he's all right.
Because, like we were talking earlier, next week we wanted to try and meet at 10 o'clock Monday the 23rd, since Thanksgiving ends on next Thursday. Is that going to be okay with you, JT?
It should be fine. I don't know. I'd have to look. I'll commit now.
Okay. Because apparently we're supposed to break into groups. I haven't read it, so I don't know what next week's going to look like. So.
Yeah, we're supposed to break up into 2 groups, and the teacher might assign them, he might not. So come Saturday afternoon, if he hasn't assigned it, are you guys good with me just splitting us?
Yeah.
I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
that's fine.
Okay. That way, and I'll let you guys know what you're supposed to read, and that way we can have it all ready to go.
Sounds good. And I know he has mentioned that everything that's due Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, ours is Wednesday and Saturday. So everything that's due on Wednesday is still due on Wednesday, but everything that's due on Saturday is due like 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So
Okay.
like the papers and things like that are due on Saturday are now due 6 a.m. in the Monday morning. So
Okay.
it's just
As far as like, because our we do have a doohickeys due next week, don't we?
yeah, we do.
So I say we just try and get that in, because I don't normally, I mean, I don't know about you guys, I don't normally do any homework on Sundays, just because it's like the one day that I don't do any homework. So
I
I
don't-
mean, I guess if we can just stick to that plan and try and have it done Saturday night so that it's submitted by 6 a.m. on Monday.
Okay, so do you want me to just send the Google Doc?
Yeah.
and then I'll just do that, and then everybody can, I guess, put stuff in. Should we have it by Thursday or Thanksgiving, so before Thanksgiving, I guess.
Let's try and do it by Wednesday. And then I meant to text you guys or email you what he said. He just said that in regard to the last doohickey that everything looked really well. Just have more. It was pretty. We got 94%, and he said that we need to work on the descriptions more. Like there needs to be more detail in our solution. And that was and that was what the same thing that it was with number 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've noticed that there was 2 or 3 of them solutions that didn't have a lot in them. So So try to, when you do solutions, try to put more in the paragraph, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to decide who will be doing the editing, or? I mean.
Well, I'm working all that whole weekend, but I'm available in the evenings, so I can edit, I can contribute, whatever y'all want, I can help out.
I can edit, but only problem is my English is not so great because I miss
again this time.
English is my second language, so I always miss like that and a and all that little things.
Okay.
And my kids always fix it, fix it for me. I mean, they say, "Mom, this doesn't go there," or "Mom, you have to have that in front of this," and so I know it's not going to be that great. But if I would have to have like I'll do the first part and then somebody can go over it or something if we're going to have 2 people doing the writing, or
we're going to have 2 groups. Yeah.
Well, doohickeys is all one group. Our group discussion next week is 2 groups.
Yeah.
Let's find out how we're going to separate the 2 groups next week. We can find that out on Saturday after he sends out the message.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go from there. For the one paper, let's have everybody contribute. And then I can go back over and edit.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So, do we want to have somebody write the introduction and conclusion, or do you want to do that?
Last time Leonard and I did it, and I did the introduction and Leonard did the conclusion, and then we edited the body together.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do that again if you guys want us to.
Okay.
I'm volunteering you, Leonard. Or if you want to do it, you can do it as well. So I mean.
Did that work really well for you guys?
I have no problems with that. We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it worked out great. And we were in contact for the most part that day. So.
That's great.
Sounds good. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Monday.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Night.
Bye.
Suzanne, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Are you going to be able to send this out? I've never recorded it.
Yeah,
so
I'll put it out.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I put it up on the whatever it's called. So yeah.
And then, are you okay with writing the write-up, Leonard?
I can do that.
For the leader?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. I know Suzanne